Hi, welcome to the Yacht Mr. John. In this video, I'll show you how easy it is to do your own rigging work with Norseman Terminals. You can read what's printed on the pictures at your leisure by slowing or stopping the video as and where required. It would be best to turn off the sound whilst doing that. We bought our Bristol 35 in 2002 in the Chesapeake and immediately replaced the rigging. As we intended to go ocean cruising, we decided to fit Norseman Terminals all over, and as the boat was almost 20 years old, we also replaced the turnbuckles. Please note, some makes of furling gear use specific terminals. Our Harken unit used a Sta-lock, and we needed both a new cone and former for that job. Swageless Terminals allow you to make adjustments and repairs even in the most remote of places. With the right tools and equipment on board, you can always sail your boat home. I was able to do the rigging myself, with the mast in situ, hoisting myself up with a block and tackle. If you are over 45 feet in length, you're going to need some help, as the bigger the boat, the heavier the gear. Having all the rigging wire one size simplified things. I ordered up my 6 new Norsemans and a coil of 360 feet of 7/16 wire from the US, shipped as domestic mail to the Marshall Islands, where we were spending the hurricane season. We took it down to Fiji, where we were scheduled to do a haul out and anti-foul. In Fiji, we were ashore with our keel in a trench, hurricane-proof, or at least that's the theory. When I took the old rig off, we could lay it out alongside the boat. But before doing that, I took lots of pictures and measurements so that we could know exactly how it was before we started. I noted all the measurements down in a book, then made another set of measurements, factoring in the changes I wanted to make. When you get your Norseman terminals, the instructions of what to do with them are quite clear. I would tape up both sides of the cut and use a new hacksaw blade. The rule is measure twice and cut once. When you need to remove the Norseman from the original wire, cut the wire about 1 centimetre from where it enters the fitting, and with a hammer you can tap the wire and used cone out. Used cones should be discarded. Put the upper sleeve part of the Norseman on the wire first, then unlay some of the outer strands so that you can slide the cone onto the centre core. The technique for doing this improves with the more fittings you do. The first one is a learning experience. Take your time. Get the cone in the right place for your diameter of wire, and get the wire back over it in a neat fashion. Pull the sleeve down over the cone and make sure the wires inside look good, with nothing laying in the slot that runs down the cone. Introduce the other parts of the fitting with a little grease on the threads. Tighten just a little, then back off and see what's going on inside the cone. If it's all okay, tighten again. A little tighter, then back off again for another look. This won't do any harm. The only thing that will do harm is if you jam it up tight and then tighten it even more. Do not over-tighten. Clean off the grease, put some non-acidic sealant into the cone and apply Loctite to the threads. Remember, not too tight, as it's the way that the wires go round the cone that holds the fitting together, not the force you apply in closing the fitting up. The 6 new Norsemans plus 2 spares I had went on the rig, and the ones that came off went on the lifelines. My lifelines are now my spare wire in case of a rigging failure, and I have plenty of spare Norsemans and new cones in case I have to do something in some remote Pacific island. Nothing is going to happen, but it's a boat, and I like to cover all bases. Clean up and polish afterwards. Never use acids around the rigging. Wash with fresh water. Polish all your rigging regularly. It's the best way to inspect your fittings and keep your rig intact. No rigger, will ever put as much time and effort into your rig change as you will. Working on your rig will give you confidence in its condition and your own abilities to deal with any situation that may arise whilst out on the ocean. Fair winds and good sailing.